People are the lifeblood of your company, and good people come from great hiring. But here's the thing, most leaders get hiring completely wrong. Today, we're taking a lesson from Essentialism by Greg McKeown and learning from one of the most stringent hiring processes in the world. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, this isn't actually the book Essentialism. This is the daily planner you can get. I don't know where my copy of the actual book is, but we've got a recording schedule to hit. So this will have to play stand in today. But the book is a classic. You should buy it, read it, live the lessons in it. Your life will improve immeasurably. It isn't a book about hiring, but there's one story in it that really resonates with me, and I'm pretty sure it will with you too. The book talks about this company, Vitsoe. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And their managing director, Mark Adams. Super interesting company. They have a very small product catalog of furniture and shelving. They basically do a really small amount of things to a very high degree of quality. And that's pretty much the overarching theme of the book, by the way. And that philosophy is really central to how they hire as well at Vitsoe. They start with this mantra that they would rather be understaffed than hire the wrong person in a rush. And I think everyone would agree that's a worthy ideal. Nobody sets out to hire a bad person or the wrong person for the role. But that's actually an incredibly hard thing to live by in the real world. When you have customers not being answered properly or sales calls going unanswered because you're understaffed, it's very easy to rationalize that anybody in that seat is better than having nobody. But that's almost always going to be detrimental over the long term. If you hire the wrong person, it's going to cost you time and money to fix that error in the future. Or worse, you don't fix it, and then your business and your culture becomes this watered down mishmash of people that you shouldn't have hired in the first place. Here's what they do differently at Vitsoe. Their hiring process starts with a telephone interview, not Zoom, not in person. Why? They're deliberately trying to strip away any visual bias and focus purely on the communication skills and the content of what the person is actually saying. This made me pause because I'll be honest, this is actually the complete opposite of how we do hiring at Empire Flippers. We typically have applicants talk about themselves on camera, record a short video for a few minutes, and that's the first thing that we review in the hiring process. It's worked pretty well for us over the years, but maybe there's something we could tweak there at an extra step to get even better results moving forward. The next lesson at Vitsoe, hiring is a team-wide decision, not just a HR or hiring manager-led process. If they pass the telephone interview, they meet multiple people in the company, everybody gets a say. Then comes the real test, a trial work day with the company. They actually get the person to come and do a full day's work with the team. At the end of the day, the entire team is asked two questions. Would this person love working here, and would we love working with them? And if it's not a hell yes on both of those questions, then they say no. And they're super particular. The book tells this one story about an install engineer who seemed like a great fit, did a great day's work. But at the end of the day, he threw his tools back into the tool bag in kind of a messy fashion instead of like putting them away neatly and orderly. And that was enough for the team to decide that he wasn't quite the right fit for their values and what was important to them. Now, you're probably thinking, this sounds great for an in-person company. How on earth can I do something like this remotely? And of course, remote teams can't do trial days in quite the same way as an in-person company, but we can still be super intentional with our hiring. Here's how to apply the essentialist mindset to hiring in a remote setting. Okay, first up, default to no unless it's a hell yes. Most hiring mistakes come from rushing to fill a role rather than waiting for the right person. It's almost always better to be understaffed for a little bit rather than spend months and months fixing a bad hire. Secondly, think about this concept of using blind assessments first. The reality is that we all have inherent biases and they can sneak into the hiring process. As soon as you see someone, you automatically start making judgments of some sort on their appearance and other visual cues. It's not totally clear that's always a bad thing. Some visual clues do give us important information. But our own biases are definitely something we need to protect against. Another way to do that is to have multiple people interview them. I think this is fairly common practice these days, but it is still super important. Don't let one person's gut feeling dictate everything. Bring in teammates or managers from other areas to give an alternate viewpoint. I'll tell you a quick kind of funny story to really illustrate the importance of this. A few years ago, we were doing a round of hiring for a role, and I did an interview with somebody, and I sent the interview to somebody else in my team. And I said, look, I think this guy is really smart. Give it a watch. Let me know what you think. And the person came back to me and they said, oh, smart. That means that they're British. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And they were like, well, whenever you say that somebody sounds smart, that basically means they sound like you. They have the same accent as you. And the person was British. They were totally right. And that, I think, just like really does show that we all try to be objective, but we all have little biases, little things, and we can triangulate with others around the business to kind of guard against that a little bit. And then always end the hiring process by asking yourself and the people in the business those two awesome questions, courtesy of Vitsoe. Would this person love working here? Would we love working with them? And remember, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Go understaff for a little bit, take the time to find the right person. Even though that can feel painful at times, it's always the better way over the long term. Hiring isn't about finding the best person on paper. It's about finding the best person for your company that matches your values and can like really take advantage of your USP. And it's also about finding the right person you need at the time. What are the challenges and the problems and the opportunities that the business has? And who's the person you need to capitalize on those in that moment? So the next time you hire, don't settle, be selective, because the wrong hire costs far more than an empty seat. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you do to make sure you hire the right people for your team? And if this helped, hit subscribe, because we're covering more ways to build an outrageously awesome remote team every week on this channel. Catch you in the next one.